So this is a video that I am putting in. It's going to be in all of my courses. So just be prepared to see it again if you do anything else or whatever. But this is going to apply to just learning as art in general, because after having tens of thousands of students at this point and receiving lots of feedback on my own teaching and having answered thousands of questions and critiqued thousands of pieces of student art, and I mean my students as no matter how old you are, and this applies to you no matter how old you are, and this will also be something that you can take with you to other courses and some of the other things that you're going to be doing in order to learn art. Art is a journey and not a destination. That's something really important to keep in mind. We do live in an age now, obviously, of the internet, and everyone wants everything right away. Art takes time. Learning fundamentals is the best way to accelerate how good you're going to be. But here's something I want you to keep in mind. Art as problem solving. We are trying to solve a problem. And so when you are saying, I want to learn how to draw an animal, or maybe your art problem is, I want to make a children's book where there's a dog who's a space ranger and I don't even know where to begin. That's a problem. You know you can solve your problem by drawing, but trying to solve that problem with drawing and not knowing the differences between the different styles that you can learn can be problematic. We are solving problems as artists. And you may not feel like an artist right now, and you may get through a quarter of this course or half of this course and not quite feel like an artist, but you are. The minute you make a decision to draw, to create, you are an artist. The minute you make that decision. If you're listening to this now, I'm telling you right now, you are an artist. It is just up to you. You just have a series of problems, challenges that you need to solve. And there is a way to do that. I want to, because I know that I take some of the same courses you guys take. I take a look at all of these things. There are books that you can learn from. There are videos, and at this time, YouTube is still up and going as I record this. There are online courses. Congratulations, you're in one. There is art school, where you are physically going into a brick and mortar building to learn certain skills. And then there are these tutorial sheets. You can find a lot of these on Pinterest or Instagram, and it's usually a step-by-step method on doing one specific thing. Everything has its advantages, but things have also their disadvantages. And here's something that I really want you to keep in mind when you are not just studying this course that you're in, but anybody else's course, or if you are watching a video. Here's some things that I want you to keep in mind. First of all, we have books. Books have been around for a long, long time. Not all books are created equal. They're just not. Some books are old. Some books are old. Some books are old, some books are new. What does that mean? First of all, if you're looking at an old book, then the drawing itself may have evolved. It depends on what you're looking at. Some old books are way better than new books. Some new books are way better than old. If you are looking at an old book and you don't feel like the language in it might be very dated, or it might be just a little bit archaic, or it might be overly academic. If it has a lot of text, older books have a significant amount of text, and we're artists. We don't necessarily read everything. We want things to be very visual, but we also want enough information. So when you are looking at a book and you're trying to discern whether this book is good or not, first of all, look at it if it's old. Yes, people do suggest certain books. I even suggest certain books over others. So there is the old and new book, which are, in my opinion, textbooks. So let me just go down here and say, there are certain books that are textbooks, and they are textbook oriented. They're very scientific, or they are very, if you look at something like a Bern Hogarth drawing book, it's a lot of instruction in it, and it's a lot to digest. Sometimes it could be a little bit cryptic, and it's not for everybody. Sometimes you'll hear people say, pick up George Bridgman's book. These are older books, and they were actually a series of notes. So they weren't even, it wasn't like George Bridgman wrote a book. These were, from what I understand, his students collected a bunch of his notes and put it together in a book or in certain books. And then there are the how to draw, etc. books. And those books, in my opinion, they are workbooks to me. So you remember the workbooks that you had in school where you would do little problems and they gave you examples and everything? Those are workbooks. A lot of those how to draw manga or how to draw anything is I look at those, and all of this, by the way, is just my opinion, based on students and based on student feedback and based on how I learn. They're workbooks, and you should treat them as workbooks, which assumes that you have some basic fundamental skills. If you don't have some basic fundamental skills, then those how to draw certain thing books are going to be very limited in your results, and we all want results. So keep that in mind. Videos. The problem with videos, well, videos can be very good. They could be taught by pros. They could even be taught by professional teachers. They could even be taught by art teachers. There are videos like that. But sometimes someone makes a video and it just becomes a draw along. Or it becomes watch me draw. Sometimes a video can just be well, let me not say advertisement, but advertisement, and it's a portfolio. Because these artists such as yourself, I said futch. That's not a word. Such as yourself. It's an online portfolio. It is showing prospective companies and clients the artists that they are. But one of the biggest problems with videos, in my opinion, is they may be incomplete. And they may be done by somebody who really doesn't teach. When you have these incomplete videos, it'll say how to draw an arm part 1, and you look at the date and it was from 4 years ago, and then you go on their channel and there was just nothing else done. Or they have 3 videos, and it can get frustrating. Now, I'm a little partial to online courses. I'm sure you are too, because there is a curriculum. This is not a spelling course. And it's step by step. And it gives you a result. Not all courses are created equal, of course. But for the most part, courses, they're going to be the same as, a lot are going to be the same as school, but the difference is you can get feedback here. And I give you feedback. So what that means is that you look for an instructor that can give you feedback. That's how you're going to get the most out of this course. Is posting your work and giving feedback the same way you would at school. These tutorial sheets are really good once you've mastered your basics. So an example of that is, so you'll see how to draw lightning legs. Nothing wrong with this. This is a cool technique. So this is how you draw a leg. And then the second step is that you put the leg right here, and then you can reshape it, and congratulations, you've drawn a leg. That's great. Unless you got to bend your leg. Unless you're crouching down or doing something else. But so this is cool, and this is a really good shorthand, and a lot of these tutorial sheets are really cool. How to draw a manga eye. So you've drawn a manga eye in 3 steps, and it's awesome. But when you try to turn your character's head, you don't know how to do that because you've only done one direction to it. Always better to look at your fundamentals. If we take a look really quickly, going back to artist problem solving, we have the scientific method. So we are asking a question that goes to, how do I do my comic? How can I make this creative piece of art that I don't know? You do background and research, and background and research is all of this. It is your learning process. So this is learning. This is a desire. So first we got to have desire, then we got to learn, construct a hypothesis. So we are constructing our hypothesis. Constructing a hypothesis means that, well, I saw this other artist that showed me how to draw a head a little bit differently, and I'm wondering if I can put this together. That's good. That is really good. So ask more questions. Ask a different question. I strongly suggest that you go through any course or any book that you're in straight through before you start looking at anything else. Test your hypothesis by doing an experiment. This is practice drawing. Analyze your data and draw a conclusion. That is you being critical of your own work. This is feedback from another artist or your instructor. And this is also putting your art down, walking away from it, looking at it the next day. And it's so important to me to circle mistakes, because that'll let you zero in on how you can do this better. So report your results. Was your hypothesis correct? After you get through practicing a lot, then you just draw and figure out where you're at, and it kind of repeats itself. So if you've made some mistakes, then you got to ask the question of, what mistakes did I made? And through this process is how you get better. The big last secret that I am going to share with you, and it's something that you may think that it's absolutely insane, but one of the best ways to problem solve and to do art is to teach. See, told you it wasn't a spelling class. Teach it. Let's make that nice, big, and colorful here. My goodness. Teach. Teach it. Pretend like you are in front of pretend you're your favorite instructor. You can pretend you're me. And pretend that you're teaching the skill that you just learned to a 5-year-old. There is something that because with a 5-year-old, you're going to be really patient. You're going to talk a little bit slower, and you're going to break it down to its most logical standpoint. If you do this, your acceleration will absolutely rocket forward, and you will learn a lot faster when you turn around and try and teach it. The first few times you do it, you're going to feel super silly, because you're going to feel like you're talking to yourself, because you are. But there is really something that happens in your brain when you have to teach something. So I know this video was a little bit longer, but I know how hard it is to learn things online. And I know not every course gives you what you want. Not every video gives you what you want. And trying to put all this stuff together can be a daunting task, and it can get frustrating, and life can get in the way. But if you keep in mind some of these things about each one of those fundamental, or one of these, not fundamental, but one of these basic courses of learning, whether it be books, videos, school, tutorial sheets, when you understand their drawbacks and understand how good they are. And at the end of the day, sometimes a book just looks pretty and it's not very helpful. Sometimes a video looks cool by a cool artist, but you just didn't get any help. Sometimes sometimes the instructor isn't as responsive. And some instructors are great. I've taken lots of courses with some great instructors, and that's what inspired me to teach. So I'm going to stop talking. Thank you so much for taking a look at this video. I want you to take this with you. Keep these things in mind as you go forward and learn art, whether it's with me or another instructor or a book or whatever. This is stuff that I want you to keep in mind. All right. Good luck on your journey. Please post your work. I give feedback, and I will see you in the next video.